Welcome to Joint Effort PAs, where two orthopedic surgery PAs get real about life in medicine. From tips and tricks to professional growth, work-life balance, and everything in between. We're here to share what we've learned and what we're still figuring out. Let's get into it. We're live.
We're live.
Weekly wins this week. Weekly recap.
I'll start.
You have to start.
I will start.
I want to hear your success of the week again.
Yeah. So a lot of my non-medical friends, my friends who don't, honestly, who don't work, let's be honest, they call this time of year Maycember because it's like December, but in May. It's like the end of school stuff, the end of sports stuff. Wow. Everybody's got a banquet. Everybody has like a thing. Yeah. It's playoffs for sports. You got to get teacher gifts, like all the things, right? So anyway, so this Friday, my daughter had her little school graduation and it was perfectly in workable hours. It was 9 a.m. on a Friday. So I knew about it. I wasn't going to take the day off. In fact, I wasn't even going to take the morning off. I was just going to make it work. So I coordinated my whole surgery day to like make this work. And of course, whatever, higher beings intercepted. And I had one assistable case that I was with first. My goal was during a turnover to literally run up the road to the school, see my daughter walk across the graduation stage thing, have her see me, eye contact, check the box over, and then leave. That's like all I needed to do.
For the first time in your life, pray for a long turnover.
Pray for a long turnover.
Yeah.
So I assistable case first. I moved a questionable assistable case second that required a lot of setup, x-ray, whatever. So I thought I built in 20 to 30 minute turnover and then 20 minutes. So I was like, I got a good 45 minutes. So the other room that we were not going to use, cases got canceled. So the staff was like, oh, cool, we'll flip you. And I was like, why? Any other day, I would be like, yes, no. So they did that. I rolled the dice, got in my car, drive too fast up the road. And I saw my daughter. And I took a little video. She saw me. I saw her.
Yeah. As long as she makes eye contact with you and doesn't have the memory that you weren't there at her graduation.
So she has a memory. I was there. I have pictures. I was there. But the repercussions if I wasn't going to make it.
I'm thinking of did you ever watch the movie Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes. Yeah. But this type of stuff, this is what I stay up at night worrying about. Yeah. Was I there enough? I don't know. But this is one of those things that it ended up just working out, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. So this one,
this time it was a win.
This one did. So that was my heartfelt feel good story of the week. What about you?
Did you have any negatives for the week? What was your pitfalls of the week?
I had a bunch of pitfalls this week. I had a lot of staffing things this week. Again, a lot of administrative stuff that just is not going well this week.
or for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, no. But we're doing a lot of really good stuff on the clinic side. Saw a lot of patients, had some really good discussions. I had a couple of really good phone calls with patients yesterday. So clinically, I felt really good about the care that I delivered this week.
Yeah, I think it was like a clinically good week. Now I hit my 100 mark finally.
Yes,
I got the push. Those 2 weeks in a row of 99. I was like, what is wrong with me?
Congrats.
What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
105. So I broke the mold.
You did break the mold. So now every week has to be that?
No.
Will you be disappointed or what is your new?
Well, first of all, this week, Memorial Week. So Monday's a big clinic day for me. So this week's a loss. I think I'm not going to go as crazy out of my way to force it into existence, but I think it did show me that I can, at my baseline for my pre-existing clinics, probably have them a little bit higher. Yeah. Almost like an airplane to accommodate for the cancellations. So have overbook yourself with the expectation. So I feel like I can handle the higher.
That's great.
Next Friday I have myself booked for 43. So we'll see.
Oh my God.
I didn't realize what I had done until I looked at it and I was like, ooh, that's going to be questionable.
Can I give you some advice?
Yeah.
Okay. We talked last week, maybe the week before, I'm not sure. You have your limit of what is my, what's my template for the day? 35. I hit it, great. I don't, great. You can overbook yourself to 37, 38, 39. Okay. Once you get past 40
is the bad place.
Each patient after 40 feels like 4. I also have 40 on Wednesday.
Ooh.
And I just know, like, and again, Wednesday's our first clinic day after the long weekend. So there will be add-ons. Like, they will. They'll find spaces to put people in. That's gonna stick with you for a little bit.
Yeah. I'm gonna be in mourning or some sort of state next week after this.
My advice is 40.
Yeah.
So anyway,
we'll see how that goes.
We'll see how it goes.
But yeah, we had cool cases this week. It was, clinically a good week. Obviously, patient volume wise, a good week. I had 2 patient encounters this week that I was dreading for 2 weeks. Do you ever have those? Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I had 2 that I was dreading. So I saw a kid who's 15 2 weeks ago, and it was a 3:15 appointment. I think the front desk didn't check him in. It was 3:45. I asked where he was. The medical assistant was like, "Oh, he's been in the room for 20 minutes, but didn't have his paper anywhere. So there's no way of me knowing." So I was like a little flustered going into the visit. There's an MRI follow-up from like an urgent care thing. He tore his ACL, he tore his MCL, he tore his posterior lateral cornea, he tore everything, right? So I go in the room, and I am mostly sure we talked about the ACL. My note said we did. Mm-hmm. But I focused so much on the MCL because this was a distal avulsion. Like, the kid's 15, might it heal? Probably won't. So I tried to talk to him about, we need to see if this will heal first before we talk about any type of surgery. And of course, the patient and mother directed the conversation to like, but what about football? Mm-hmm. And I never like at the first visit to throw in, oh, that's completely out of the question, because I'm going to lose them after that.
Yeah. They'll go somewhere else.
So multiple ligament injury. This kid also grew 6 inches in the past however many months. So he's got a bilateral knee, even on his good one, 15-degree contracture. So in my head, I'm like, this kid is going to be a nightmare to rehab. So I said, all right, let's do 2 weeks of physical therapy. Let's see if his quad can work, swelling down, gait, restoration, whatever. So I sent him to therapy to one of the therapists that doesn't see a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And he texted me and he said, "Hey, I said ACL," and both the mom and the kid looked at me like, "Whoa, our ACL's torn?" They had like no idea. So I was kind of like, then I start doubting myself. I'm like, did we talk about the ACL?
But you also you've had so many of those encounters in life, so
so
doubt yourself. You're like, okay, patients just hear what they want to hear.
Yeah. Anyway, so, but again, if you're a 15-year-old and I say ACL, MCL, LCL, which I did, and ALL, like, you get lost in the alphabet soup of it, right?
Yeah.
So, I was like, okay, I'm just going to call. And the therapist who saw this patient, I don't know, they did a great job.
Yeah.
Collaborating with me.
Yeah.
I think they kind of, I question it. Let's put it that way. So I'm thinking to myself, all right, I'm going to call the mom. So wait till the next day. I call the mom, but the dad picks up. Now the dad wasn't at the visit, right?
Yeah.
I have a very good conversation with the dad.
Yeah.
And, told him, yes, the ACL is 100%, it's a full thing, it's 100% torn.
Yeah.
But the problem is the MCL, but also this kid has such terrible gait pattern, doing surgery on him now or even in the next month is going to be, he's going to struggle. This will be a year recovery for him regardless. So I said, let's just see how he does. Let's see him back in 2 weeks. So again, it's 3:15 again. So I'm like waiting all day. So I see the patient comes back. Dad is with the patient. So I was like, of course, when the medical system rings back, I'm like, who's in the room? Dad and patient. Great. Dad has the note printed out from last time about what you guys discussed, which, by the way, was all the things. Mm-hmm. And he's reading it, and diagnosis, assessment, full thickness ACL. I don't like it either. And he says, "I'm sorry, I don't see ACL on here anywhere." I'm like, but it's right. It's like, it's right, it's right there.
You're taking the paper and you're like circling it, highlighting it.
I'm like, did he print it before I closed the note? Then I'm asking all these weird questions. Then I'm like, all right, I think I can do this with the dad and the kid, because the dad and I were on the same page. So I thought, So then by the time I get in there, the medical assistant's like, hey, the mom just got here.
No.
I know. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So
behind
I'm
the curtain.
Sweating. Yeah. I'm like, okay. And I thought about it for 2 weeks, like how I'm going to have this conversation. And then now at this point, I'm 60% sure I mentioned the ACL.
Yeah.
Like now I'm even doubting myself. So I'm like,
your
one of those
is
like
going down. Yeah.
I'm like, splash, water and face in the mirror, like get your shit together. You do. So I go in the room and I decide, I almost temporarily black out because everything I wanted to do, I didn't do.
Oh my God.
So I come in with my computer. I was going to show them the images like we did the last time.
You start stumbling over your words like,
no, I didn't. And I walked in and I was like, I said, hey, I was like, I'm glad we have everybody here. And I just go, I think we need to start over.
Yeah.
And then the mom and the dad were like, oh my God, thank you. Yes, let's go back to the beginning. And we did. We had a really, really good visit. But like, I kid you not, I feel like I like blacked out. I know I did a great job, but everything I prepared for 2 weeks, out the window.
Yeah.
Out the window.
But you started over.
I started over and I felt great about it. Yeah. They actually gave me a good review, but I was like,
amazing.
The amount of time I spent not sleeping over that one.
Yeah. Yeah. And it keeps you up at night. You wake up at 2 a.m. and you're like replaying the conversation.
I did.
Like,
I did. His name kept like flowing through in my head all week. But anyway, so that happened, and those happen infrequently, but
frequently enough to make you lose sleep.
No, I know, but like again, Hannah, as you are entering your 43 patients, that's what happens when you get up to high volume.
The 41st one is going to be like
it is. I know. Anyway,
they're going to be like, "What did you just say?"
Anywho,
but there's two ways I think from a little bit of a tangent that can be handled on the therapist backside too to help you out. The two ways are. Oh, well, like, yes, Beth went over all of these things with you, but right now focused on this part because this drives how we're going to deal with the rest of it. So that's like why we're focusing on this. And so that like makes them reassured and they're like, oh, it makes sense like why that was more of the focus of the visit. Yeah. Or, oh, they didn't tell you this? Well, like, I'm telling you this.
I think it was a little bit of that, but I think the therapist also went to, I don't know what I'm talking about. And when you do that, now you have a question of trust on the clinic side and now with the therapist. Yeah. So I was like, God, why did you make it worse? Yeah. So spoiler alert, we're going to have a physical therapist on to talk about these issues in a couple of weeks. And I think that interaction spawned me wanting to do that. But anyway, makes sense. At the end of the day, like it ended up being okay. But he'll be a tough rehab.
Yeah. So those are the ones too that like you have to, if you don't save yourself, that's going to become somebody who's like, I never want to see the PA again.
Only want to see the doctor.
I only need to see the doctor because I had this like
weird interaction.
So
and I will tell you, I looked to see if they requested their records.
Yeah.
Because it made me feel when the therapist talked to me, it made me feel like that. When I talked to the dad, I was like, oh my God, we're totally fine. I don't know. It just made me feel weird.
And then you're like, did I lose somebody for us for
yeah, but it also makes me think like that one, I was very like in tune with. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Didn't I? Whatever. All the other ones I think I did. Like how many people leave and they're like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
I hope that's not the case.
But who the hell made you overthink it?
Made me overthink it. Now I'm stuck in this weird place. But anyway, oh my God. Shifting gears, hopefully a little bit to transition into what we're going to talk about. We had a new PA at our practice start this week, and we just finished with a student last week or the week before that. So having experienced providers, having new providers, we have decided, much like with surgeons, there are different PA archetypes that exist.
There are.
And we're going to dissect it today.
Our personality traits. And in going over this, I realized that you, all of us, we probably are a combination of all of these things, but we fit more into certain categories than others.
Yes.
It has been requested to not reveal our identities.
We will not reveal our identities.
The end or and you can decide for yourself.
Well, the thing, those who know us, those who don't know us, we apparently now are getting fan mail. So if you want to write in your guess.
What do you think we are? And then what you are, or if we've missed the bill and you're something very different and you are this archetype that we don't know about.
Yeah. This new species we don't know about.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's start with number one, which I deemed the over-explainer.
Yes.
So this is somebody that takes a long time with patients.
Yeah, their patient encounters they're over. They're running late usually.
They're running late. They are taking like 30 to 45 minutes.
Yes.
Full time.
Yeah. And on every visit, on every new one, on someone who just is here for a shot.
Yeah.
This is the one also whose notes have risk, benefits, and alternatives. And then there's a paragraph of all the things that they probably didn't need to talk about in the depth that they did.
And the differential is like so wide. You're like, you just listed everything possible pathology that could happen in the knee.
Yeah.
So it almost becomes destructive because you're not like
specific.
Really, you're not clear on anything. You're trying to cover all of your bases.
Yeah.
But that to me also exudes a little bit of lack of confidence.
Yes. Now their patient reviews are glowing for They explained everything well. They answered all my questions. Their reviews are also negative with, I waited in the waiting room for an hour and a half.
Yeah. And I think like from a follow-up perspective, these people can kind of sometimes burn you a little bit because they got so much time on the front end with this other person and
they expect it.
And now they have that expectation, or they explain to them like the 20 possible things that could be going on and like held their hand during it. And when you tell them like, actually, I don't think this isn't broken. And they're like, but the other person, like, they gave me this splint and I feel good in it. And it hurts.
They said I didn't have to go to work.
It was broken and they took me out of work and they cared so much about me. And you just took my splint off and told me to move my finger
and go back to work.
You're evil.
Yeah.
I hate you.
No. So I think the over-explainer cares a lot about the patient, but also is a rule follower as far as education.
Yeah.
Like if the patient leaves and they're not educated, I didn't do my job. And I'm not saying there are certain circumstances where you need to not educate. It's just that can be done more concisely.
Yeah. And I mean, you have to base this on what type of clinic you're running and what type of schedule you have, because you will be forever behind. And I mean, you don't have to over-explain yourself. Explain yourself, but don't over-explain yourself.
Do you think the over-explainer cares more about patient satisfaction or wants to hear himself talk or herself?
I think it possibly could depend on the person, but I think they care more about patient satisfaction. I think they're like worried about not doing a good job.
So is this also a little bit of a subtype of someone who's afraid to make a mistake?
Yeah. They're afraid to make a mistake. They don't want the person to leave feeling unheard, sad.
Yeah. Well,
like they don't have answers.
So, and I like this breakdown. The over-explainer, when stressed, their response is to explain more.
Yeah. Do you ever find yourself doing this though? Because I'm not an over-explainer typically, but if you ever have that like patient interaction where they're kind of pushing you a little bit, where maybe it feels like they're questioning your knowledge base and you get into over-explaining mode?
Yeah. I will do that to show them. Like, again, if you have the patient who's looking at you, I did a pre-op the other day, and this woman was constantly looking at my badge, to make sure I was credentialed the way that I should have been. And then I started changing what I was saying to literally show her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know words.
Yeah, but I didn't do it in more words. I did it in words that she maybe thought were impressive.
Yeah. I don't like my drawings. That tends to be a hit. I do like to draw a lot.
Yeah.
I do a lot of drawings. They've gotten better over the years.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes my medical assistants will see it. They're like, what is this? Like,
So the over-explainer, when you do their review, by the way, that also takes a long time. Because they need to explain with negative criticism why they did what they did. Again, there's not always a window that I need you to talk.
Yeah.
So
do they want also the negative criticism? Like you tell them the positive things and they're like, please tell me what I'm doing wrong. Like you need to know.
Yeah, but they also don't have a problem. They don't refute the negative things. Yeah. They just need you to know why they chose to do that.
Yeah.
But are very receptive to, please tell me, please make me better.
Criticism, open to constructive criticism, all the things. And usually this person is very pleasant to be around.
Very pleasant to be around. Yeah. Everybody likes the over-explainer.
Especially patients.
Staff. Yeah. Staff and patients.
Now, other than when they're running an hour behind and the staff is like, okay.
The front desk likes them the least because they have to tell the patients why the wait is still happening.
Yeah. All right.
But would we employ the over-explainer?
Yeah. I mean, yes.
You need one.
But possibly in a role that maybe being an hour and a half behind isn't going to be detrimental.
Yeah. Lesser volume.
Yeah.
Okay.
They might work really well in a primary care setting too.
They would work well in a primary care setting.
Yeah. With a low patient volume.
That is true. Yes. Yes.
Number 2. Who's number 2?
Number 2 is the apex predator PA.
Sounds terrifying.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
So this is the PA that thrives with autonomy, chaotic situations, and difficult cases. High stress.
Yeah.
Right?
Very efficient. They're thinking ahead.
Yeah.
And about what happened last week at the same time. It's just all happening.
It's all
simultaneously happening. And they've got it under control. So like teetering on like a little, when you have like those plates stacked on the little stick.
Yes.
They're like falling off.
Yeah. They're falling off.
But they're not falling.
They're not. And there's food on them. It's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Catchphrases. It's fine.
Already handled it.
It's already been done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't need your help.
Yeah. Nope. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Unintentionally intimidating. When people meet this person, they might be like, "Whew, I'm a little scared."
Yeah. But again, that's more the person, not the PA.
It's not. Yeah. It is because they haven't met the person. They don't know the person yet, but they are just so taken back by the apex predator demeanor.
That this one also, like, again, you have the schedule for the day. Although things are chaotic, somehow they've got everything lined up. They know what's going on. They know what happened last time. They know what the next step is.
People are a little bit afraid of this one. And by people, I mean not only their colleagues, but possibly surgeons, physicians alike.
Possibly.
Are made to be a little bit nervous
possibly
to disappoint said people. Because it's unintentional intimidation, but it's just a lack of wanting to disappoint somebody at that high level. Like, you don't want to see them juggling their plates and drop your own fucking plate and like see their eyes glaring at you.
Yeah, because they're somehow disappointed in you.
Yes. Yeah. So, this person is very necessary to the everyday processes. They're handling things that maybe 3 or 4 people should be handling, but in one person.
That is true. Probably fit for a leadership role.
They're also not wanting, you don't want to disappoint them because you can't afford to lose this person.
Can't afford to lose that person.
This person is pivotal in every way.
Now, is the and we're just spitballing here. Is the apex predator human? Or are they a robot?
They are a subtype of both.
Okay.
Meshed into one. I don't want to say, I don't think robotic. Robotic makes it sound like
cold.
Yeah, cold, and like everything is just black and white. That's not the case.
Do patients like the apex predator?
Patients do like the apex predator.
Do patients recognize they are the apex predator, or does it only exist in the work setting?
I think that patients do recognize the apex predator, and I think that patients like the apex predator because they feel protected by it. Like the apex predator is, I don't know, like the lion and the patients are the cubs, and they're like doing all the things to like circle them and protect and like
and they trust the lion.
They trust the lion to,
devour everybody else.
Provide sufficient care. The other lions in the what is it, a pack, a pride of lions. Yeah. The rest of the pride is like depending on this lion to make sure that things go the way they need to go. So
the stress response, right? So when the apex predator is under stress or, something's not right, they respond by
doing more,
becoming more efficient.
Something else add another project. So we know that this person is very efficient, that they are very reliable, and they're always 3 steps ahead of everybody else. What might be the weaknesses of somebody like this? A little intimidating and possibly forgetting and not being able to accept that others aren't operating at the same speed.
That is true.
I don't personally find that a negative, though. No. I think that those people should be operating at the same speed.
I think sometimes some people should have higher standards for themselves, and the apex predator is just manifesting
trying to get you to meet those standards, realize you're helping them try to realize their potential.
Can the apex predator take criticism?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will the apex predator take criticism from those inferior to them?
I think so.
I think so too.
Because I think the apex predator wants to be great, and if there's something that somebody else has noticed, regardless of their level above or they want to fix that.
That is true.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Apex predator, pivotal role.
Does exist.
It does exist.
Outside of orthopedics.
They're the unicorn in a way. I don't know. Do any other places have an apex predator?
I'd love to know.
Yeah, I'd love to know who the other apex predators are out there.
Can there be 2 or more apex predators?
Will they fight each other like 2 male beta fish in a tank?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I'm thinking that too. They'd have to be separated by a wall of glass.
Or an ocean.
Yeah. I mean, so potentially,
theoretically,
they could theoretically, but there has to be a level of separation. I think 2 apex predators can have their own territory of predation.
Yeah.
Is that a word?
Yeah, it is. No, you're right.
So they're hunting in their own territory. It's like the Lion King, right?
Yeah.
So like Mufasa had his territory, and then Scar, he was in charge of the dark lands. So as long as like one is Scar and one's Mufasa.
Scar like literally killed Mufasa. So I do not know if it's going to be survival of the fittest. That's true. I'm here for it.
But if Scar, he was dealt a really tough hand in life. So
that's true.
Just saying. Okay. Yes. To the next one. So number 3, we have the golden retriever. Who doesn't love a golden retriever?
Yeah, golden retrievers, they are the best.
They're the best. They're adorable. And
they're always in the family pictures.
They're always there. They're just there.
Yeah.
They are constantly there. When you get home from work, they're in your face, like trying to make you happy. You feel good around the golden retriever.
Yes. The golden retriever PA wants the forever relationship with the surgeon.
Yeah.
They want to ride off into the sunset because they have this thriving team environment.
Yeah.
And nothing is more rewarding than that.
Yeah.
They want to know that they a bowl of water at the end of the day. It's always there.
So when I was reading this, I was like, I don't know, like, does this sound like a bad or a good thing? The golden retriever, just like,
no, it's a good thing.
They thrive on like what be like a pat on the head at the end of the day. Good boy.
No, well, I will break that down. They thrive on positive reinforcement.
Yes, they do.
And if there is negative reinforcement, they will move mountains to fix that
with their tail tucked between their legs. Yes. So thriving on the teamwork, morale boosting, the surgeon partnership. They want to be loved by everybody.
But they are loved by everybody. They're not like, they don't try too hard. They just, because they do so much and they are always recognized for what they do, they are loved by patients and staff. Right?
Yes. That is
so. Weaknesses of the golden retriever.
The golden retriever has no boundaries because they live to please.
That's true.
Everybody.
That's true.
Like dogs don't, live for themselves.
No,
they want to satisfy everybody else's needs.
That's true. So
no boundaries. They
overextend. They say yes to everything. They are always there. And you're not going to know about it because they just do it because that is what is expected, or I don't say asked of them. That's what is expected of them, to have a successful day.
Yeah, and it's not even like they want things to be successful so that they continue to get that positive reinforcement, that treat at the end of the day. The little treat.
But they're also the ones, and it's almost like the St. Bernards or whatever that are the sled dogs, that they're just like carrying the sled and they're like it's fine, and then they die of a heart attack.
They're carrying it for so long, carrying the load, and just, they're still happy and they're wagging their tail and panting, and there's no indication. Then just all of a sudden, they just pass out. Oh my God.
But their again, weaknesses is no boundaries. So a little bit of self-sacrifice, but they can handle it because the balance is that jobs get done and the team says thank you and patients are happy. But their stress response.
Wait, are you mad at me?
Are you mad at me? And then the catchphrase, they will respond to stress, and what they will say is,
just add it on.
Just add it on.
Yeah,
I'll just open a weekend clinic.
Yeah, why not?
Just give it to me.
I love it. I love the golden retriever.
No, I think the golden retriever PA is super helpful. That's a great part of a team, specifically when you have a surgeon who is very task oriented, or the surgeon who can kind of fire and say, we need this done, then you know that it's going to get done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you have your golden retriever there.
You have your golden retriever there. They're going to fetch the ball.
Yeah.
They'll bring it back.
And they're happy about it.
They are happy
until they keel over and die.
Until they have a heart attack. Or they're purebreds, they die of cancer. But
oh my God. It's fine. Okay. Moving on. The boundary queen / king.
Yeah.
Because it could be either or.
This is
not gender discriminatory.
It is not gender discriminatory, but it is generationally common. I think we see a lot of our new grads that are the boundary king and queens. And again, I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing. And I think some people have more of this than others. But whenever there is a situation, I feel like this is the predominant thing. Like, hey, can you, we recently released like a self-scheduling. Hey, can you self-schedule? If the email was sent saying, hey, I released this self-schedule on a day they weren't working, they won't respond with, thank you, thank you. I will do this on Monday. They will say, I just want to let you know I received this email on my day off.
Yeah. Or just no response and the automated, like, I'm out of the office.
I'm out of the office today. Yeah. So they thrive on work-life balance, mental health recognition. They're the ones that are in the health and wellness committees at work.
Yeah, they have plans after work and they can't be missed if their patient's 16 minutes, I should say. If they're 16 minutes late, they're like, well, I'm already out the door because I've got dinner with my family after my reformer Pilates class.
And if the patient is walking in and they are infected and have a fever, it doesn't matter because they're not working anymore.
Pilates class.
They're Pilates because Pilates can't wait.
Class. I mean, this is my time.
Yeah.
Weekends, like, we had to add on an emergent case over the weekend.
I'll work on weekends.
Like, there's somebody else.
Yeah,
handles
that's not
that, right.
Yeah.
Like,
but there's not even any communication. It's just a gear in their head where if there is stuff added on the weekends, they just say, I wonder who's going to do that. Moving on. Right?
Yeah. And they don't stress about it.
No, they do not stress about it. They probably have perfect skin. They have perfect skin.
They have perfect skin. Like, I don't know. Like, what is this? I think I'm developing psoriasis.
that is a form of psoriasis.
I just noticed it yesterday. I was like, why is this side of my face really scaly? But I think I'm developing psoriasis.
No, I think what you're developing, you're developing a tick. Like when you're stressed, you just literally
stress response.
Rub the skin off the side of your face.
Well, I tell you what would make me stressed is having boundaries to the point that I was questioning who else was helping wash out an infection of my own patient over the weekend. I can't handle that.
Yeah. So, their weaknesses, besides not necessarily being seen as a team player, is that their coworkers, their managers just see them as less dedicated.
Yeah.
Like you're not you're not invested.
But they don't care though. They don't worry about it. Like that's off their radar. They don't think that anybody thinks that about them.
Yeah.
Because the people who are thinking that about them are hyperfixated on work and they're not. So it's just not even registering.
But do you watch The Pit?
No.
Oh, okay. There was this episode. You should. There was this episode where there's this, intern and the shift is over, but they lost power during the shift. So everybody has to go back and take their paper charts and upload them. And she literally looks at the clock and was like, my shift is over. Like I'm
done.
I'm going to go now. And everyone's like, but these aren't going to upload themselves. And she's like, that's not my problem. And was very happy to walk out. Yeah. And that's just how they, it's just like how they live. Yeah. Whereas the other ones were there till Lord knows when, doing all the documentation. But
what do you think it's like working with this person from like an MA perspective and their surgeon's perspective?
From a surgeon's perspective, I think the surgeon has to do way more.
Yeah.
I had a medical assistant that was a boundary king, and I would send him stuff at like 4:50 and he would say, thank you very much. I will take care of this first thing tomorrow. And I'm like, oh my God, like if I wanted you to do it tomorrow, I would have sent it to you tomorrow.
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It was urgent enough that it urgent enough that I sent it today.
Right yeah. So I think they're relatively black and white. I think for, those working around them, there's no question what they're doing or not doing.
Yeah, you just everybody know that they're not doing anything.
They're not doing anything. Yeah. I assume from a surgeon's perspective, I would find that very hard to work with.
I think it depends on the surgeon too and what their expectation. Like if the surgeon is very, wants to take care of everything themselves anyway, this person's probably fine. They're just a body and an extra set of hands. And if that's all they need and want and expect, then this person fulfills that role. From an MA's perspective, I almost think this person might be like a lot more well liked, because if they have that life balance, the MAs and everybody are going to also feel that balance and not be bothered after hours.
But I guess yes and no. Like if the boundary king or queen is not doing their things, then it falls on the next person.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Again, I think the MA secretly hates them.
Yeah.
Unless you have an MA who is like way overdriven and is like, yes, like
somebody
I get
else
to
has
do more.
Yeah.
Someone has to pick up their slack.
Yeah. There has to be a balance of who wants to be that person.
Yeah. But their stress response when they're hit their limit, which I don't know how, is they take a vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, I feel like I'm burning out. Should I take a long weekend?
A mental health day. Yeah.
And not take my phone with me.
So the boundary king and queen will call out.
Ooh, yeah.
They will call out. Yeah. Apex predator. No.
The
Golden
apex
retriever.
predator,
never.
The apex predator would never call out, even if they were pill vomiting.
It's true. And the golden retriever, if they lost their voice, they are still speaking the same amount throughout the day. Yeah. Everybody's just going to hear the scratchiness.
Like,
stop talking. No, but the boundary king or queen, their catchphrase is, my PTO was a notification. Like I have already booked the trip.
I'm gone.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not waiting for your approval. I'm doing it regardless of what you say.
I judge this person.
I judge this person too, but
is it because I'm a little jealous of them? I don't know. No. I wish I had maybe 10% of their balance.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm going to change this. The catchphrase for the boundary king or queen is, I don't feel comfortable with that. That is, and I've heard that way too often. So I don't know. I don't think the boundary king or queen, if they're so inflexible, they're not going to last in orthopedics.
Yeah.
This is not going to last in orthopedics.
You know, there's something else out there for you that's much better suited.
That is true.
Yeah. Maybe you should do aesthetics and injectables.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea.
After Pilates.
All right. Now we have the procedure goblin. Ugh. Yeah. And when I was asking ChatGPT to help create these archetypes, he was making the procedure goblin out to be like an only positive thing. Like, ooh, this person's very technically proficient, does all the things. And those types of procedure goblins do exist out there. We all strive to be that type of procedure goblin. I feel that sometimes I try to be that type of procedure goblin, but I'm talking about the negative aspects of it too.
Well, okay, to be fair, we have both encountered this person when they are looking for procedures that don't necessarily need to be procedures. Right. There's also the flip side where we used to have a mid-level provider that was in the OR all the time.
Yeah.
They were just great with their hands, assist, suturing. I want to be
that kind of procedure goblin.
I know. And so that person, when you recognize that you are very good with your hands and procedures and you can use that power for good, that's a great ORPA. Yeah. Like that's someone who you get on Medley or whatever and you just pick up shifts in the OR. Yeah. Super happy. Yeah. Yeah. The procedure goblin is someone who, and again, I picture like
I picture Smeagol from like Lord of the Rings too.
Yeah. I picture like a Quasimodo with like forceps in their hand, right? They are looking
hunting someone down.
Exactly. So they're looking for, a minimally displaced fracture they must reduce, right? I mean, like
and then
unnecessary.
You get the post-production films and you're like, did something change? I don't think so.
No. Someone who's got to put a splint on everything, someone who's looking to inject everything, must aspirate every knee before we inject.
Must do an IND because it looks a little like puffy in this area. So there's something in there I must probe out.
So again, thrives on injections, laceration repair, suturing, procedures. But I think unfortunately doesn't see all the other things, right? They're enthusiastic and again, fearless. They're never the one that's going to tell you, I don't feel comfortable with that. Yeah, never. And their weakness is that their confidence and their enthusiasm for wanting to do things overpowers judgment.
Yes. Yeah. It doesn't quite match maybe the proficiency that they feel versus what actually exists. Yeah. There's a mismatch.
Yes.
Sometimes.
And their decision-making is clouded by their desire to get their hands dirty. Yeah. So that we don't love. You need a little bit of that technical person that, if someone comes in for something, it can be handled because this person's going to do it. But it's also the person when they have 20 people in the waiting room and there comes in a wrist reduction, they're not walking down the hall to get handed a help.
Yeah.
Well, they should.
Yeah.
The judgment.
You need to triage yourself appropriately too and not let yourself get behind.
Yeah.
I caught myself in this situation this week, actually. I was covering urgent care in one of our facilities and I had a very light schedule myself. So I had nothing else ready to do. And somebody checked in who had a foreign body in their leg somewhere from a fish fin.
Yeah, dibs.
And I was like, they asked like the other doc who was there or whatever. And they were like, And I was like, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Me.
I got my ultrasound. Because the other doc was like, oh, well, you'll have to like look for it with ultrasound, see if it's superficial enough, blah, 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 blah. So he was telling the check-in person, like, I don't know. And I was like, I got my ultrasound in my backpack. Like, I'm going to do it.
Like, I actually was ready for this all day today.
So I get everything set up, like numb them up. I see it on ultrasound. Like, it's pretty superficial. I can feel it. And it's like very adherent to everything around it. Yeah, I was probing for like far too long, enough so that I was like, I know other people are ready now. Like I put myself in this place and I'm not backing out now.
Yeah.
But then my staff started coming in.
Oh yeah. So that's your
people were
warning.
Sent in to come get me. And it was like almost like a little like slap. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I've hit that point where people are like, are you okay? Do you need any help? I'm like, get out. Like, no,
I don't need help. Thank you.
Yeah. I did find it. It came out. So all was well in the end. And then I was a little bit behind.
Yeah. But again,
whatever.
But again, an experienced provider who is going to take on an unplanned procedure, right? That's someone who can manage their time and know their own limits. Let's put it that way, right? If you were someone who didn't have an ultrasound, who just, numbed it up, made an incision and just fished around and doesn't know anything about anatomy. Like we've worked with some of those, and that's always a difficult conversation because, hey, I think you do a great job and I love that you're willing to take on new things, but
everybody else waited 3 hours.
Yeah. Everybody else waited 3 hours. But anyway, so that's the procedure goblin, for better or for worse.
For better or for worse. And then next up we have the easily overstimulated PA. I don't know if this is the right title for it, but there's the archetype explains itself. They can't have the chaos.
So I think we've talked about this before. Like some people just don't have the limit that other people have. Mm-hmm. I think some people's threshold is a little bit lower than others. This is that person.
Yeah, some people need to sit during clinic.
Oh my God, don't even get me. So why does that bother me so much? When I see someone sitting during clinic, it disgusts me. I don't even know how else to say it. Like, I don't even know how else to say it. Like,
the clinic you work in, there's no sitting to be had.
No. And if I'm sitting, actually, I did one, like I was doing like a webinar thing. I was doing somebody's review and I was on a meeting one time during lunch and I was sitting and someone was like, are you sitting?
Okay? And you got up and you were like, no.
No, but I remember being like, I think I'm going to sit down. It felt so weird too.
Yeah.
No, but the overstimulated
PA. It's a sign of weakness.
It is a sign of weakness. That's why you don't sit. So the overstimulated PA can only handle a certain amount of volume, needs things to be predictable.
Yeah.
One patient at a time. You add on one patient or ask them one thing that's like in
the middle of
something else, and it's a complete breakdown after that. So, and now what is it? Paralysis by analysis, right? If they see something they don't understand and they have to look it up, if that throws them off, now it like exponentially ruins their day. Yeah. Like the next thing becomes harder and then the next thing becomes harder because there was a challenging thing that was thrown in there that they weren't expecting. Yeah. The overstimulated PA cries a lot.
Yeah. They break down.
They sometimes lock themselves in a room.
Yeah. They might leave and never come back.
Yeah. Yeah. Their catchphrase is "I'm trying," and it sounds like that. I'm trying my best.
Shaky voice.
Shaky voice. Yeah. So I always feel like this provider needs mentoring. Yeah. Like I want to just like help them.
They're there. Wrap them up a little bit.
Like wrap them up a little bit. Try to make things like safe for them. Yeah. But at the same time, a little hard love. Like you
You can't be safe all the time. You got to be like put out into the elements.
Yeah.
And learn to fend for yourself.
This provider, like if a patient comes in and they yell at them, oh my God.
No, they can't be yelled at.
Yeah. They cannot get a bad review because if they do, like they'll quit. Right. They are compassionate. They're empathetic. Right. So if someone comes in crying, they know how to handle that, but they don't deal with aggressiveness. They don't like confrontation. They don't like not being heard.
Yeah.
But also a little bit like on the border of like collapse every time you see them.
Yeah. Yeah. You're worried. You feel like you need to protect everything around them and their environment to keep them.
Yeah.
Which can be exhausting for those around them.
Yeah. My catchphrase for them is, are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
And they're not.
They're not okay.
Yeah.
They will say sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a provider right now that says, hey, can I ask you something? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or, hey, I'm calling you. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry that I'm bothering you.
I cannot not say sorry. But they say that way too much. Yeah.
They worry about them.
I worry about them, but they do look like when they're stressed, they literally age. Like they look disheveled. You know what I mean? Like they wear it.
Yeah.
They wear their stress on their face.
In the form of psoriasis.
in the form of dry patches.
Yeah. And then this last one, we have like a double-edged sword to it.
Yeah.
There's a dichotomy. You can be either or on one end of the spectrum. So we have the PA that thinks they're basically a doctor and the PA that's not much more than an assistant. MA. Yeah. And our goal is to live somewhere always in the middle and practice at the highest potential of our whatever you call it. But you don't want to be too much on the end either. So
the doctor PA thinks they're a doctor. They won't tell you that, but they will also never correct a patient when they call them doctor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They like, I don't say they're arrogant. They are though, right? Yeah, like they're a little arrogant.
They got a little complex about it.
They do. They're decisive. They want to be productive. They want everyone to recognize them when they walk in the room. They generally have an ego.
They want to be treated like the provider.
But they will do things too that will undermine others because they want to rise to the top, but not in the way of like
they'll climb over you to get there.
They will. They will shove you under to get there.
Trampled.
Step on you to get there, right? Yeah. So they're the ones that want to be recognized, but they don't do it in the right way. Yeah. They want the power of that title.
Yeah.
So I've worked with those. It
takes to rise to the top.
Yeah, I've worked with those, and they do not rise based on merit. They are the ones that want to schmooze with the doc. They're the ones that call the doc by the first name. They do.
Yeah, calling a doctor by their first name. I'm not saying.
I'm not saying you can't.
I'm not saying you can't because, like, yes,
just don't.
Maybe like outside of the set, but I still don't do that. Like, do you do that?
I do not do that,
yeah.
And I don't do it in front of other people in a professional setting.
Correct. Like,
I would never do that.
If you were in a non-professional setting and I don't know, you have that type of relationship, great. Yeah. But like, I wouldn't do it in a work setting.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So weakness is if you point it out, they become more arrogant, more defensive. And I think they are terrible teamwork.
Yeah.
They're terrible teammates.
Yeah.
Terrible
nobody
teammates.
Wants to work with them.
No. So I think they're also the ones that come in with zero experience and demand a salary because they did their research and have nothing to back it up.
Like, I need an MA immediately. I need
this
salary.
Things,
and like, I would like my coffee brought to me.
They never get coffee for anybody else. Yeah. Never. They also don't pack lunch. Like, they eat out all the time.
Yeah. They do eat out all the time. But they also expect that like it will be provided for them maybe.
Yeah. Definitely.
Where's my lounge access?
Yeah. They're never helping move the patient in the OR.
Yeah.
They're never in the room getting ready with the OR staff because they're above that. I mean, they don't need that.
No, they just come in when the doc comes in.
They do.
That is their role.
Their notes are always open.
Yeah.
Because they don't have time. They have time to spend.
Somebody will do it for me.
Somebody will do it for me. Yeah.
That's not part of my job, is it? Like closing the notes? Crazy.
Yeah. No, these are emotionally exhausting people to work with in a different way than the overstimulated PA.
Yeah. Do you think the doc likes working with these people?
I think some docs like working with these people because these people are mirrors for the docs.
Yeah. Like they can be their buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're their hype man. So in an orthopedic world, you will have certain personalities that thrive off of that personality. And again, not because they're great clinically, but because they continue to positively reinforce the doc. They bro out. Yeah. But at the end of the day, when you look at their numbers, mediocre.
Yeah. You guys you're not thriving as much as you think you are.
Yeah. They will interrupt in a presentation and say, well, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. We don't love them, but they exist.
They definitely exist out there. And then by the dichotomy to that is the one who doesn't operate anywhere near the top of their standards.
The other one is the one that went to PA school because they thought they should, right? And sounded fun. And they have always done the bare minimum.
Yeah.
They never make a decision for themselves. They're very good following algorithmic protocols, but as soon as something is outside of something's complicated, they toss it off to the doc.
Yeah,
so they don't take on extra tasks. They're never the ones that are going to be, how can I help you with this? Let me see what else I can do. They're not looking to grow in their career. Just very happy coasting.
Yeah. They're like, I'm just happy to see every, 2-week post-op patient.
Yes.
Nothing new or complex. I don't want to have to be the one to figure out new things. Maybe they're the person that wants to run a simultaneous clinic where they're seeing patients together and they're basically scribing for their doctor.
Yeah, well, they are presenting to their doctor. The doctor tells them what to do and then they just do it.
They just do it, yeah.
This is the one where the anesthesiologist says, hey, you ordered Ancef. They're allergic to penicillin. Do you want to do clindamycin? And they're like, I don't know. Let me go check with the doc.
Let me ask the doc. And then they go ask them and then they report back and you're like, are you basically the middleman?
Yeah.
The little carrier pigeon.
Yeah. And again,
parent sitting on their shoulder.
Some situations, some roles. I mean, this is what you need. If you have a surgeon that is super type A, super controlling, doesn't let you do anything anyway. I've worked with that before.
Yeah.
You're not going to be happy in that role. But if you were the MAPA, very happy in that role.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to break yourself out of that because I think that can be where a lot of people start out, maybe especially with docs who have never had APA before.
Yes.
And they don't know what to do with this person. So their expectation level isn't much. It's like, oh, you're just going to do the things I tell you to do, right? And be there and assist me in the ways that I verbally tell you I need to be assisted and not, think ahead or think for yourself. So if you are stuck in that and needing to break free of it, I mean, your goal is to, 1, push yourself, and 2, kind of push them away, so to speak. You learn the things that they want to do and the way they like to do it, and then you do it on your own and you stop asking.
Yeah.
They're very textbook savvy.
Yeah.
And that's part of what is their detriment too, because it's all got to be black and white.
Yes.
And, this person has numbness and tingling, but it is in their whole hand and not just the first 3 fingers and half of the 4th. And therefore, it can't possibly still just be carpal tunnel syndrome.
Yeah.
Because
they'll miss things because they're just so black and white. Again, they're so algorithmic. If something comes in a little bit, askew, they can't adapt.
Yeah.
This is also the person where you ask them, hey, I'm going to go see a patient. Can you do an injection? And they would rather do the administrative phone calls and calling the patients. Yeah. They just don't look to do.
They're just not comfortable with those things too. Going back to, that doesn't make me comfortable.
Yeah, I don't think they'd ever say it doesn't make me comfortable, but I think they're like, well, I've never done it, therefore I can't. And there's no let me do and teach. Why don't you teach me? Yeah. Yeah, those are interesting.
Yeah.
But I've seen both, the doctor PA and then the MAPA. And again, in orthopedics, I think you'll see more of the former, less of the latter.
Yeah.
But we've seen both.
We have seen both. We've seen both. And we strive to be somewhere in the middle of that.
We do. Dare I ask you what you think you are, or we'll just leave that out there?
I think we can. I think, well, you know what? I'll reveal yours. Beth is the apex predator.
I am, you guys.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to.
I mean, we were all a little bit scared of Beth when we first met her. Not in I'm scared of her. She sounds and looks like a mean person way, but you don't want to disappoint Beth. A little bit. Yeah.
No, I think, I don't think I've always been that way necessarily, but I am.
Yeah. The apex predator isn't born the apex predator.
No.
They rise to the occasion. They see the need and they fill the role. Yeah. 100%. That is Beth.
Yeah.
So.
Hannah, on the other hand, Hannah is not to a T, but mostly golden retriever.
Mostly the golden retriever.
Mostly golden retriever.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And again, not in a bad way, but in a very, very good way. You do have some flavors of apex predator. You do.
I have some flavors of it. I think we all have a little bit of some flavors of everything, you know?
Yeah.
I can get emotionally overstimulated at times. I can have my fair share of breakdowns and times where like my morale doesn't match what a golden retriever's energy should. But yeah, I'd say 80%.
Yeah. I've gotten myself stuck in the, again, like you said, with the foreign body and those procedures. It's like, oh, this is easy. This should no problem. And again, 9 times out of 10, it is no problem. Yeah. It is easy. But I've gotten myself in a situation where I'm like, God damn it. Yeah. Now, like, now there's like, did I really need to do this type of thing? Putting a pick line in.
Overstepped my boundaries here a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm riding that golden retriever, Saint Bernard.
Yes. Yes. Just with
Bernie's mountain dog.
With your heart monitor on. Just make sure.
I love it. But yeah, we've all met and worked with one of each of these on said list. So,
and if we missed any, please let us know.
Yeah, there's got to be some out there.
There's got to be some out there that we don't know of.
Yeah. All right, guys. Till next time.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Joint Effort PAs. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow PA or med-minded friend. You can also follow us on Instagram at Joint Effort PAs for updates and extra content. See you next time.